Joining me now in the KUM News Zoom room is a dear friend to each and every one of us as Guamanians here, the lovely Samantha Taitano. She is, of course, the executive director of Manetlu, and she also has another responsibility, of course, working with the island's homeless population, a very, very critical part of our island. So, Sam, I haven't seen you in 2023, so Happy New Year to you and your team over there.
Happy New Year. It's so nice to see you, even if it's virtually.
There you go. Well, one of these days we'll have you in the studio, but I know you've got a ton on your plate, as I was saying, and probably foremost among those responsibilities is you guys are beginning the point in time count for our island's homeless population. So maybe just frame this for me real quick because I have a tendency to get this messed up myself. By definition, what is actually a homeless person on Guam?
Okay, so a homeless person on Guam. So for a lot of the programs that have here with the Guam Homeless Coalition, we are funded by the Continuum of Care, which is actually a HUD program, so a Housing and Urban Development Program. And so we follow HUD's definition of homelessness here on the island. And so it is somebody who is kind of either living in like a transitional or an emergency housing situation, or and that's through one of our partner programs that we have here, or it's somebody who is experiencing street homelessness, living on the street, and or living in substandard housing, which is a place that would not be suitable for actual housing. So maybe somewhere that doesn't have like a proper floor, or an actual roof, or in the news there's been a lot of notice about people who might be living in like condemned buildings
Yeah.
or like the parking structure.
And that's where people like me tend to misinterpret exactly what is a homeless person here. And by that definition, and thank you for clearing that up, the amount of homeless people here probably would be a much larger number than most of us know. And I would just
Yes,
say,
and
with the eyeball test, just driving around and seeing the number of people that are asking for handouts on the street, which most people would assume constitutes the whole of our homeless population, it just seems like it's grown.
it's definitely grown. Because of the pandemic, we have seen we were able to house more people because of a lot of like the emergency housing that we had before, such as the global dorms, and we were also able to stand up the Tamuni homeless shelter as well. So there was an influx of money that was kind of put in to really help people be safe during the pandemic, and but also because of the pandemic, because you're being stuck in a housing situation with people, sometimes that also resulted in new homeless people. So just so many different things happening, people losing their jobs. They always say that, a majority of people are just one, bad situation away from homelessness. It's just one bad thing, and then all of a sudden you can't recover from it, right? And so definitely we did finally get our numbers in for the 2022 pick count. And so we will be kind of releasing a press release around that. But we did see an increase in homelessness last year. And one of the things that we also do, because the definitions that are provided to us by HUD change on occasion, we also count those who are living in substandard housing as well.
Okay, and of course, it's not just about going out and doing the quantitative work and everything, and basically saying for statistical purposes this is the number. Your role at the Guam Homeless Coalition is to make sure that we actually drive that number way down so that we may give these Guamanians, whatever their situation calls for, a proper place to call home.
Yes, and so the point in time homeless count, really what the Guam Homeless Coalition does is we take the information. So the pit count, as we call it, not only counts the number of people, but it also includes an interview where we do surveys with them so that we can get some information, of course, about like demographics and then just like some of like the situations that they're in. That way we can best respond, right? And so I know, last time we had added some information about, like COVID vaccination, because we wanted to understand if we needed to do some more outreach, right? We needed to do additional outreach to make sure that people who were not vaccinated and were looking to be vaccinated, but just didn't have a way to to access that, that we were able to kind of work with work with DPHSS and some of our teams to make sure that they were able to send people out there to actually vaccinate people, or to have some of the outreach teams be able to go to wherever the homeless people are at, and bring them over to somewhere where they were able to become vaccinated.
And Sam, I remember that was a big thing that Lieutenant Governor Tenorio was saying, like early on when the pandemic first started, because he was like, these still are members of our community, and we want to make sure that they're given proper care. If they happen to contract the virus, we want to make sure that we can help them. At the same time, we don't want to create yet more sparse vectors for the virus to spread even more. So making sure we know who they are and where they are, and getting them the right amount of healthcare, as you said, is of imminent importance.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we had last year was a rapid response team, so that, as we are doing these surveys, if there's someone who needs immediate medical care, we were able to tap on this rapid response team to kind of go out and see if they were able to either take that person to that place where they were going to get medical care, or have a nurse go out there to see if they were able to help out there on site.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really, it's us not only being able to quantify the number of homeless individuals and families that we have here, but also making sure that they're getting the assistance that they need. And once we kind of look at our numbers from the pit count, it also helps with the Guam Homeless Coalition strategic planning, so that we can identify, okay, we're starting to see this kind of trend within our data. This looks like a place that we need to focus our efforts in on.
Mm-hmm. And you were talking about demographics, and I would just really, really hope. I mean, as much as like it pains me to see anybody that shares this island, like having to ask for handouts, or you see people like like you said, living in substandard housing, or they may be camping out like at the pavilions at Epau Beach because they don't have a place to stay. But I mean, when it's kids, I mean that God, that's the worst. So I hope it doesn't trend younger.
Well, we will be releasing the information about the numbers from the pit count that we have, and so that information will be available on our website very soon.
Okay.
But yes, there are children that are experiencing homelessness here on the island.
Gosh, well, we pray for them, of course. And kind of interesting segue by you, Sam, because talking about forthcoming things, let's talk timetables now, and how much once the work starts by your team, how long is it going to take for you to go out into the community and to be able to do that kind of quantitative research, to be able to figure out how many people are homeless?
Okay, so we have been planning for the pit count for since December, so for a little over a month already, and what we're planning to do is on January 27th is when the pit count will actually happen. It is a 1-day count of people who are experiencing homelessness. We are looking to send out about 40 teams throughout the island during that entire day, with like the time starting at 3 o'clock in the morning and ending at 11. And so the reason why we do it as a 1-day pit count is really to make sure that there's no duplicate counts, right? So we have the teams going out to make sure that they're able to, search for people. Of course, the Guam Homeless Coalition has a bunch of outreach teams through the different organizations. And so as part of our planning process, it's really collaborating to make sure that any place where we know people who are experiencing this might be residing or might be staying for a while, we make sure that those spaces are on our map, so that once we organize everything. And so Salvation Army always plays a huge part in the coordination of this.
I was going to say,
yeah,
you work with so many community partners, and like I was fortunate enough on Thanksgiving, I should say, when the Salvation Army went out, I actually went out there and did a little video on them, handing out food stuff. But they say they kind of have an idea of where people without permanent housing tend to congregate, and they can go there without disturbing them too much, and just say, hey, may I say a few words of prayer for you, I brought you something hot to eat. So they kind of have the area mapped out, as do you.
Yes, and so they collaborate with all of our other partners to, share what maps that they have existing. So we take things that we've had from the previous years and then we add on or subtract based on sort of what the outreach teams are seeing. And then, so Salvation Army will actually be our home base for January 27th. And they do an awesome job of really leading the coordination. They actually are the people who kind of manage a lot of the data that we collect, both during the pit count and then throughout the year.
You got the best of the best working on this, and yourself included. So that being the case, I know Sam, there during the pandemic years, and that was such a crazy 3-year period in our history. But I believe it was possible if there were people in the community that wanted to help out during that one day. Are you in any need of volunteers?
Yes, we are. So we are actually looking for volunteers right now, and the application to apply, it's just a Google form that has a survey on there. If you are interested in volunteering that day, we're looking for about 300 volunteers to make up those 40 teams that will be going out. We're at about the halfway point. So we are really still recruiting and looking for volunteers who are interested. We will be providing training. I believe it's next week. We'll have 2 days of training on the 18th and 20th, and those will be held via Zoom. If anybody is kind of interested in volunteering, we are no longer requiring our volunteers to provide evidence of vaccination or a negative test. Those were some of the requirements for last year, but you will be required to sign a waiver and you'll have to go through a short health screening on the day of the count before you can participate in the event.
What's the minimum age that someone must be if they would like to participate? Because I'm thinking this is an amazing opportunity. I mean, obviously you're doing it because it's what's right for our community, but also service learning. This is amazing. Can students do this?
So we typically just kind of have it for 18 and over.
Okay. You can
Yes,
still get college kids.
yeah. So we do usually have a lot of UOG students who are participating.
Okay. So final words, Sam. As you know, again, that's on the 27th. So that date is really coming up, everybody. Please get those applications in because Sam and her team really need you. So just some final thoughts as you're about to embark on this point in time count and exactly what it means for us understanding, who doesn't have permanent residence here.
Yeah, so I really encourage if you're interested in assisting us and are just kind of interested in learning a little bit more about the Guam Homeless Coalition and you want to kind of give a hand here, just kind of check out our website. Again, we'll have the application to become a volunteer on there. This is a big deal, especially for the coalition, because we are the continuum of care for the island. And being able to count this information not only means that we're able to support the individuals and families who are out there experiencing homelessness, but we're also able to justify a lot of the funding so that we're able to transition people back into housing. And so again, we will have teams that go out during different parts of the day if they're interested. The sign up will kind of end around Tuesday. So we're hoping to get at least 150 more people who are interested in going out there. Just to kind of share the experience, you're out there. We of course give you training so that you better understand how to do the survey, and then also to also cover some of the safety concerns that people might have. We provide you guys with all of the supplies that you'll need. So we'll be providing masks for our volunteers so that they're staying safe and they're also making sure that those that they meet out there are also staying safe as well. And so again, the trainings will be on the 18th and 20th. It'll be about 3 hours each training, and those will be via Zoom.
All right. So that's Samantha Taitano, everybody. Making sure that our island's homeless population at first is gathered and we can get that number so we know how much care we need to provide. And then, of course, making sure that these people have a place where they can call home. And I know 2 things you're thinking. Yes, 1, this is going to make you feel amazing inside. So please volunteer. Please fill out that information. And 2, and I can say this from personal experience, yes, Sam's earrings really are that awesome in real life. Well, Sam, thank you so much. You and your team and the community partners you work with are doing an absolutely amazing thing for our island family. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. And are we going to see you as a volunteer?
I am.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
saying that right now
So,
on Zoom. Yeah,
yes. So
I
I'll
will
make
do
sure
that.
to send you the link right after this so you don't have to go to the website. But again, our website is guamhomelesscoalition.org.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you so much.